Good afternoon, everybody. It is Brandon. I'm here to encourage, motivate you, and inspire you today to live your absolute best life. Today, we're going rogue. I'm roaming in the house, and I want to talk to all of you all about forgiveness and why do we forgive? Why is forgiveness important? Why is forgiveness a key in our relationships? And forgiveness is key in life. And can I just be really honest and say that understanding forgiveness is a continual thing? I don't know if anybody in life is ever stops learning about the power of forgiveness and how important forgiveness actually is. But let me just say that it took me a really long time to begin to see uh, my parents differently from the disintegration of our relationship when I came out as being gay. It took me a really long time to forgive the things that were said, the things that were implied, the things that were I had remembered from growing up. And it took me a really long time to um, forgive other people in my life for things that they did, like way back in the day, like people in high school and people when I was at A&M and even people that I worked with on the circus. Forgiveness is such a crazy blessing that most of us don't fully use, and we don't really understand why it's so incredibly important. And the reason why I want to talk about this is because you all know I have a new course launching called Tuning into Love: How to Restore Broken Hearts and Rebuild Relationships and Create New Ones. And one of the modules is going to be about forgiveness. And forgiveness is not an easy pill for a lot of people to swallow, because when we feel like somebody wronged us, when we feel like someone treated us like crap or shit or traumatize us, whether it's physical abuse, whether it is verbal abuse, um, it's like, why should I forgive them? Why should I? They were jackasses or they did something that is unforgivable. Why should I forgive them? They don't deserve my forgiveness, right? These were all the things that I said in my head as I didn't deserve to be treated that way. I don't have I don't have to be treated that way. They don't deserve my forgiveness. They're not worthy of my forgiveness. And I'm not just talking about my parents. I'm talking about like all lots of different people. No, you don't get to be forgiven because of that, because you're a jackass or you're a jerk. And I want to read for you all because I think that whenever I talk about forgiveness, the first thing that pops into my head is somebody's going to say, well, there are some things that you shouldn't be forgiven for, like murder or rape. And I don't know how someone is able to do that, forgive someone for those things, because I haven't had those things done to me. But what I can say is that there are other people who talk about forgiving people who've killed someone they loved. And I can relate to certain ideas that translate specifically to the relationship with my mom and my dad and to other people. And I thought that I would first share an excerpt from a book and then talk about why forgiveness and what the actual kind of process of forgiveness is. Because I know there's people that are watching this who have been deeply hurt by people in their past, especially people that are close to you. Because when you have friends or family members that you love and adore, you open up your heart. And that makes you more vulnerable for the hurt and the pain. And I think that's one of the reasons why both my parents were hurt and I was hurt when I came out, is because both of our hearts were so incredibly open and vulnerable to the pain because we love each other so deeply. And with parents and kids, there is a stronger emotional tie to your relationship because you have their genomes in you, because you actually have cords attached to you, because of your ancestry, because of your energy. It's the same reason why there is emotional and energetic exchange when you sleep with somebody. And that when you do that on an emotional level, you become connected, which means pieces and parts of them will begin to energetically intertwine with you. So I want to read an excerpt. I have to go to my computer so I can read this to you. But I want to read an excerpt from, it's actually a movement. It's called the Forgiveness Project. But it's from a mom whose son, 6-year-old son, was killed in the Sandy Hook Elementary School shooting. And I don't know if you all have read her book or not, but I want to read this excerpt for you because whenever I talk about forgiveness, people always want to ask, well, there's some things that are unforgivable. So I just want to read what she said. She said, "Forgiveness is central to my resilience. A social worker came to my house shortly after the incident." She's talking about the Sandy Hook school shooting. Kneeling down with her hand on my knee, she said, "I know how it feels. I've lost my son, and I'm here to tell you the pain will never get better." At that moment, I thought, this is absolutely not going to be my journey. So I think it's really important to note that forgiveness is a choice. Nobody can force you to forgive. Nobody can tie your hands and make you forgive. People can beg you to forgive them. But the only person that makes the choice to forgive is you. And she said, as I chose the path of forgiveness, initially it felt as if the shooter was attached to me by some umbilical cord and all my energy was being sapped. When somebody hurts you in that kind of way, whether it's through rape or whether it's through verbal abuse or whether it's through physical abuse or whether they killed someone that you love dearly, you are emotionally and emotionally energetically now attached to that person. It goes with the law of oneness that we're all connected as human beings. And she said that forgiveness felt like I was given a big pair of scissors to cut the tie and regain my personal power. It started with a choice and then became a process with no neat ending. I think that's also really important to think about, is that people think, okay, I choose to forgive this person and all right, we're done, Z. And sometimes when the wound is really, really deep, it takes longer to heal. I mean, think about like a cut, right? You can have a cut on your finger and it can heal in 2 days, or it could require stitches and it could take, several weeks or months. And sometimes even when we get healed, we still have scars and your emotions are no different. And she said that it started with a choice and then became a process, no neat ending. One day I can forgive, and the next day I hear a detail of what happened in the classroom and I feel anger all over again. I also have to forgive Adam Lanza's mother, who unwittingly armed him and defied medical advice that he should not be isolated. There's a lot of anger for her in the community, but I can identify with her because we were both single moms. She paid for her mistakes. He shot her dead before heading for the school. At Jesse's funeral, I urged everyone to choose love rather than hate. I said, this tragedy started with an angry thought in the shooter's head, which grew to rage and escalated violence. So please honor Jesse's memory by consciously changing an angry thought into a loving one to make this a better world. And so when I was coming out, I was filled with so much anger at my parents for not accepting me for who I was. Anger at the Bible verses that they showed me, anger at the church and the community, bitterness. And, even the Bible talks about forgiveness, that when you forgive somebody else, God forgives you. And every major religion talks about forgiveness. And what people don't understand about forgiveness, besides the fact that it's a choice, is that forgiveness is accepting what happened, not saying what it was okay. Forgiveness is choosing to see that the angerness, the bitterness, the hate, those negative emotions that you have for whatever you experienced don't need to be relived for the rest of your life. And when you forgive, you are releasing the angerness, the bitterness, the spite, the vengefulness. And you are replacing that with love. And so if you think about you're going into your closet, and we'll use this closet as an example, but you have all these things in your closet, and all these things are taking up space. And if you want to think about traumatic experiences in your life, and you don't forgive the person or forgive the experience or release those emotions, you box them up in your closet. So you have anger, you have bitterness, you have spite, you have hostility, you have bitterness. Now, when you take these items and you remove them from your closet, now you create room to replace them with something else: love, joy, abundance. And I think if we're all being honest with ourselves, we've all hurt other people. We've all said things that we regret. We've all treated people in ways they just do not deserve to be treated. Some bigger than others, some smaller. But the point is that everything in life comes back to you. And our number one purpose on life is to love. And holding on to these emotions keeps us from experiencing love. It doesn't hurt the other person. The only person it hurts is us, because we remain emotionally attached. So today, I want to challenge you to forgive someone for something that they did to you. And I want to challenge you, if you haven't already, take in my 7-day relationship challenge. Get your feet wet, because my 8-week course, Tuning into Love, Healing Broken Hearts, and Creating Amazing Relationships and Restoring Them, is going to be life-changing for whoever decides and feels that it's the right move for them. Because this is going to talk about judgment. It's going to talk about forgiveness. It's going to talk about point of attraction in relationships. It's going to dig deep. But it's not going to be for those who are faint of heart, because you're going to have to do the work. And only with the work do you reap the greatest reward. And I don't know about you, but I would love to replace all my anger and spite from previous relationships or past traumas with as much joy, love, and abundance as I can, so that I can continue to give it and receive it back. Have an awesome day.